walks in 16 innings of work in the circle. And gets a check swing. Just grazes off the bat of Lockhart. Brings the count to 0-2. Actually, 1-1. That was inside. Didn't catch the bat. So it's going to be 1-1 for Lockhart. And now Lockhart swings through, misses, brings the count to 1-2 strikes. Steffes is the main relief arm for Coach Cantor. 4 of our 5 appearances have come in relief. Again, the nod in game 2 of this twin bill. The 1-2 to Lockhart. Swings through with a pitch up in his own, and down she goes. And Steffes strikes things off with a strikeout for Tampa.
Yeah, not a surprise. Steffes has been a pretty reliable arm. And given her ability out of the bullpen, she's kind of earned this second starter role for the Spartans rotation. I love her strikeout to walk ratio for the start of the season.
On the lead, Floriano will come to the plate. Steffes with a just over 4-1 strikeout to walk ratio as Floriano takes it outside for ball 1. Scott Boswell behind the plate calling the balls and strikes. Robert Kirk over at first for the back end of our Friday twin bill to cap off the month of February Eve. And outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Lynn got held to 3 hits and now lost to Tampa. 2 of those hits came in the 4th inning. The 3rd inning, 1-run trouble for Gwen McGinnis. And that one pops in for a strike, brings it to 2-1. Mother Nature has been kind to us so far. We'll continue to do so. Oh, was flipped away, brings the count even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kylie Hope will hit cleanup for head coach Cassie Pickett. Tegan Riley will hit cleanup. Savannah Ellis will hit 5th, and back-to-back strikeouts for Steffes to start things off in the 1st.
Steffes looks really comfortable out there, and that's exactly what you want to see out of her as she looks to prove to be the SP2 long-term this season for the Spartans.
And that's something that Coach Cantor has definitely been searching for in their first 3 weekends of play this year. Hope takes that outside ball 1. Let's set up the Tampa defense quickly for you. Johns will be in left field, Zekman in center. Feast, who left game 1 with issues with the knee as a precaution, back in the game in the right, will give you the infield and the battery after the 1-0, which is swung through a miss to square up the count. Salisbury will be over at first, Yetter at second, Reynolds at short, New Paver will be at third, and Kryler behind the plate to do the catching for Steffes. 1-1 strike, 2 down here in the top of the first, scoreless. 2 balls and a strike. Spartans have now won 21 straight over the ladies from Boca Raton, have not lost to the Fighting Knights since 2018. Trying to make it a Taylor Swift-like 22 here to cap off this doubleheader outside. Catches the corner, 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out. Steffes with the 2-2. Got jammed, and I will flip just inside the right field line over the head of Salisbury. And Hope with the 2-out single to extend the first for Lynn.
That's a really good job protecting there. And it's not a great swing out of Hope, but it does what Lynn needs to. It gives them a base runner and kind of has that leadoff prowess now batting 3rd in game 2 for the Fighting Knights.
I'll bring up Tegan Riley to the plate. Riley in game 1 went 0 for 3, swings through, falls behind 0-1. Lynn with the win, Lynn with the loss, falls to 0-7. Tampa with the win, back to 500, 5-5, and importantly 1-3 in SSC play. Same pitch, same swing, same result for Riley. She's behind 0-2. Trout on the top of the first. Hope on at third with a flare single over the first baseman. And will be stranded. Easy pop up to short. Reynolds catches it in, and that will retire Lynn in the top of the first. So the Fighting Knights can't take advantage of the 2-out single from Hope. Tampa will swing to 6 for the first time when we return on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Be able to borrow the computer charger.
Bottom of
It
the
is kind
first inning.
Far across. Yeah.
Here on a gray overcast Friday afternoon, Victor Anderson, Taylor Storeworthy, glad you're with us here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Spartans looking to clinch the series over the Fighting Knights as R.B. Zekman gets a high five from Nice Rubio. As the lights on here at Mioli Family Stadium on this Friday afternoon. And outside for ball one.
I'm not surprised to see Tampa keeping their same leadoff batters. They've been super consistent this season. Zekman doing a good job in game one of the series as well.
Zekman takes the 1-0 down and low, 2 balls and no strikes. Tampa will get another look at Gabriella Lindsay, who got the start in game one versus Tampa. Went 3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 5 runs, walked 2, had 2 wild pitches, and at 7-0 Tampa win. And I will get flipped over foul along the third base side.
Yeah, I am surprised to see Lindsay back in the circle. She has been very good this season for the Fighting Knights. But it is a bit of a surprise that she is going to be back for game two. I imagine that she would have been back tomorrow, but that's still a possibility.
Catches the inside half of the plate, squares up to count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bottom of the first, no score. A little bit high and inside as Zekman had to drift away, avoid getting hit. Full count. Three balls, 2 strikes. Our pitch will get wasted. I will land for right on top of the Tampa third base dugout. I will do it all again, 3-2.
Her first at bat against Lindsay was over in 2 pitches, where she then doubled and eventually came home to score. But here it's gone the distance.
Looking to get on base here and try and kickstart this Tampa first. And we'll do so with a ball right in front of the catcher, Morgan. And it'll be a leadoff free pass to start off the Tampa first inning. So it brings up new paper. And the top of the Tampa order, as you kind of referenced, Tyler, has done the job for them throughout the majority of 2026. In game one, they went 2 for 5. They scored 2 runs, knocked in a pair. New paper doing the honors with that. Drops down a bunt. Riley throw over the first is there in time. In spite of Ellis getting a foot off the bat, but had control enough, so another sacrifice bunt to move the runner over and score in position. And all set the opportunity for Kenna Kreidler.
Kreidler's
Kreidler game one, 2 for 3. Scored 2, knocked in a run. Takes that outside for ball 1.
Yeah, she's been very disciplined at the plate in the series. Had a 3-1 count in the fourth inning and delivered her second hit of the day. I'm excited to see what she can do with a runner in scoring position.
Outfield straight away for Lynn. Gets it in for a strike. Brings the count to a ball and 1 strike. Lynn defensively will be Lockhart in left. Goins in center. Floriano in right. Ellis at first. Hope at second. Riddle at short. Riley at third. Morgan doing the catching for Lindsay. The 1-1. Drops in an empty box. Brings the count to 2 balls and a strike. Tampa jumped on Lynn early. Scored 2 in the first. 3 more in the second. And had control from that point forward. And a 7-0 win. Catches on the outside half of the plate. Brings the count even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Spartans look to duplicate their efforts in the first inning off of Lindsay in game 1. And a full count.
Yeah, not the first time things will go full for Kenna Kreidler throughout the season. And I imagine that she could win this fight right here.
Now pitch and lays off the rise ball. And Kreidler is issued a second walk from Lindsay in the first inning. That'll bring up Cam Feast.
I think Feast's change was a precaution due to potential injury, but also we saw right after the Feast substitution that Tampa shuffled a lot of players in the lineup across the board. So it's probably a mix of, wanting to make sure she's fully healthy.
Oh, that swing looks healthy there. That one will just hook foul at the last minute. That swing certainly looked healthy, but couldn't straighten it out enough to hug the left field line. Nice swing by the junior from Fort Myers. Started collegiate at the D1 level at Florida Gulf Coast for the legendary David Dayrose before coming over to UTampa. He takes the 0-1 outside. Makes it count to 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, that was a great swing out of Feast, and she did record multiple hits in game 1 before getting changed early. 2 RBIs and a single and double.
A little slow roller. They'll get the runners over at least. Though is just in time. Feast showing no little effects from the awkward slide that took her out of the game as a precaution in game number 1. So second and third, 2 down for Tampa. And it'll be up to Carly Salisbury to try and get the Spartans on the board.
Yeah, Carly will be looking for a solid hit right here. The freshman did deliver a single to keep the offense going for the Spartans back in game 1.
And we'll look to do the same in game 2 and falls behind 0-1. Leslie Cantor, the dean of softball coaches in this league over at third base as usual, with Denise Rubio over at first. And it's remarkable to believe with all the changes in this conference in the last few years that Leslie Cantor is the longest tenured coach in the Sunshine State Conference now at one school. It's jammed, and Coach Cantor had to scamper out of the way. Brings the count to a ball and 2 strikes. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. No score. Spartans trying to avoid wasting an early opportunity. Segment at third, Kreidler at second. 2-2.
That was right on the corner of the plate, but just a tad outside. The strike zone is a little bit different than game 1, which was very batter-friendly.
Scott Boswell calling the zone. Ball kicks away from Morgan, and the Spartans will again get the game's first run on a wild pitch. That's how they got on the board in game 1 versus Lynn on a wild pitch in the first inning. Same thing happens here in game 2.
That lowers the pressure for Salisbury as well, which is exactly what the Spartans want.
Brings the count to 3-1. Salisbury gets one just past the stretch glove of Riddle. And I will bring home Kreidman, and it's 2-0 for Tampa. So 2 pitches just like that of the Spartans get 2 early runs again off of Lindsay. So Micaiah Brumble-O'Neal, the freshman from Moore, Oklahoma, will have an opportunity if he falls behind 0-1. 2-0 lead for the Spartans. O'Neal trying to keep the inning going. Will lift that one right towards the set, right behind the first base dugout, out of play. 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. Lindsey's pitch. Just got a piece up the front of the bat to stay alive.
Brumbelow went 0 for 2 in her outings in Game 1, but would like to get on the board here to keep the inning going and keep the offense moving.
Lays off that tantalizing pitch off the zone from Lindsey, and Brumble-O'Neal brings it down to a ball and 2 strikes. Lights on. Weather calm. Confident it will remain that way. Inside of the knees. Lindsey thought that was strike 3, so the center fielder goings, but instead it's the proverbial deuces wild situation. You got 22 at the plate, 2 outs, 2 balls, and 2 strikes. And 2 runs and a 2-0 lead for Tampa. Woo, good looking pitch again from Lindsey. Maybe got a squeeze there for Mr. Boswell behind the plate.
Yeah, that's one where you got to say you can't fight City Hall, even though I think Lindsey might be planning to.
Inside and low, and she loses Brumble-O'Neal after being ahead 1-2.
Great fight by Brumble-O'Neal just to win the battle after falling behind. And again, it's that discipline that's so huge for this Tampa offense. You love to see it out of a freshman like Brumbelow to battle back against a veteran like this.
So that will keep the inning going for the freshman Abby Johns. Goes out to the first pitch, and that one will be out of the reach of Morgan and Ellis.
There was a similar pop-up back in Game 1 for Abby Johns, went right to the first base player, Ellis. And Johns just decided to run into her as the ball was falling for Ellis, so she was out on runner's interference there. But kind of a funny play when it happened.
Certainly didn't mean to run into her in that situation. And both wanted to worry about that, as I want to be in foul territory, as Ellis will make the play to end the Tampa first. But the Spartans are able to get a hold of a couple of runs. They saw a wild pitch in the RBI single, 2 runs on 1 hit, 2 left. Spartans up 2-0 after 1 here in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back here of you on a gloomy Friday afternoon will be Savannah Ellis, Marina Goins, and the designated player Ariana Rigo going to work against the freshman Holly Steffes in the top of the second. 2-0 lead for the Spartans. Victor Anderson, Taylor Stowworthy, glad that you're with us. That one's down and inside for ball 1.
Yeah, this offseason there were a lot of changes for the Tampa rotation. You saw Gail House leaving after an illustrious career. Kate DeSimone, who was a late bloomer in the rotation, turning to be a really reliable arm later in her Spartan career, also leaving. The only player returning was Steffes and Winters, or McGinnis and Winters, but Steffes has really stepped up as a freshman.
So he's provided a lot of nice innings for head coach Leslie Cantor, and definitely with pitching coach Jackie Davis and her prowess in terms of developing and cultivating this Tampa staff. Some more arms and more youth to work at her to kind of mold and shape into one of the top stats, not just in the Sunshine State Conference, but in Division II. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That one's solidly hit well, but it will be a F8 in center field for Zekman. 1 down, Indy Lynn second.
Yeah, Tampa's always been so solid defensively, and even though it is a changing of the guard in the circle, the future definitely looks bright with already you're seeing Holly Steffes already in line to be that 1B arm behind Gwen McGinnis on doubleheaders like today.
Goins as someone's kept away from the catcher, ball 1.
Goins started with a single in the second. It was the first hit against Gwen McGinnis in the game. McGinnis then rallied with 2 straight strikeouts.
Steph is very composed in the circle, and she's been getting a lot of those swings and misses, 1-1.
Yeah, and since her debut, where she did suffer defeat in the circle, taking the loss in the loss column, she's been 1-0 and really done a good job silencing opponents, holding them to a 175 average.
Makes it count to 1-2. One out here at the top of the first, 2-0 lead for Tampa. Again, jumping early on Gabriella Lindsay. Little jam shot. She'll be playable behind first, and it will be for Salisbury. 2 down. So we'll bring up Ariana Rigo. Came in as a pinch hitter on the back end of game number 1 and stayed on to pitch the 6th inning, where she had some control issues, giving up a couple of runs. Goes out to the first pitch. This out 1 foul, 0-1.
Yeah, it wasn't the ideal inning for Rigo in the circle, but she can hold her head high that she left the bases loaded and prevented Tampa from ending the game in the bottom of the 6th. She took the game to the 7th, where unfortunately for the Fighting Knights, they were kept quiet for a 7-0 loss.
Swings through and misses, brings the count to 0-2.
It's a really good rebound from Rigo to have that strong escape in the circle, even though Tampa was able to extend with 2 extra runs in that frame.
Especially how the inning started.
Yeah, that too.
And shoots that one past Reynolds and Newpaver. And for the second straight inning, Lynn has a 2-out single. So 2 down, I'll bring up the catcher, Allie Morgan. Strike 1. And that's the thing we've seen a lot from Steffes in these first 2 innings. Jumping ahead of these Lynn hitters 0-1 and setting the tempo and dictating the turns of each at-bat. Runner goes. Ball scoots away, but Zekman backs up the Kryler throw.
It's got to be disappointing for the Tampa infield. If they were a little more ready to guard the stolen base, I think that throw gets there in time for Reynolds. But she has to run to cover the bag, and it just slips by her on a good throw from Kryler. It was low, kind of on the money where you want the glove to be if you're trying to make the catch. And heads up for the freshman, knew to just step inside and make sure the errant throw didn't get the runner to third.
The 0-2. They'll peel to behind second, and Robert Kirk says she did not go after it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Steph is trying to negate the single like she did in the first. She's ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes. Paints the corner, strike 3. Down goes Morgan and the Knights in the second. So Lynn cannot take advantage of the 2-out single from Rigo. She's left stranded at second base. We'll head to the home second. 2-0 Spartans here in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Alongside Taylor Storeworthy, I'm Victor Anderson. Glad that you're back with us on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. 2-0 lead for Tampa as we go into the home second inning. Bottom 8-9-1. Due up Yetter, Reynolds, and Zekman. Looking to continue their mastery of Gabriella Lindsay. Although Lindsay starts off the second inning with a strike on the outer black of the plate.
Interesting to see Lindsay back in the circle after game one because even though she only went 3 innings, she did have a lot of pitches, a long outing against the Spartans offense.
That one's fouled off the foot of Yetter. It'll need a little extra moment to kind of shake off that pain. She went 3 innings, but then throwing 74 pitches, 43 of strikes, gave up 8 hits, 5 runs, walked 2, had 2 wild pitches. And that 7-0 win for Tampa in Game 1 to start the series.
She is the arm that the team relies on the most, though.
Misses away.
And before the game, I caught up with Coach Pickett, and she was really excited about Lindsay, how she's been this season, and that she's really been able to shine as the leading arm on this team. And she still has that faith, even after things like command were a little bit shaky in Game 1. And obviously, with the scattered showers, things aren't going to get easier out there on the circle, not just for her, but for Steffes and the defense.
Brings it count to even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lindsay, with that performance in Game 1, saw her ERA jump to 5.03 on the season. Swing and a miss. And down goes Yetter on strikes. Only Lindsay's 8th strikeout of the season.
It's also her first of the day against the Tampa team.
So 1 down, here comes Reynolds. Reynolds in game 1 has solid at bats, went 1 for 1 with 2 runs scored. Falls behind 0-1. The bottom of the order, Yetter and Reynolds were really productive in that 7-0 win. They went 3 for 4, scored 3 of the 7 Tampa runs. Shows bump, but pops out of the glove of Morgan. Brings the count to 1-1.
I wonder if they do make the change from Lindsay in the circle, they'll also eventually make the change for Morgan at the plate. At least for the moment, it looks like those two are kind of locked in as a battery duo. But then you also have Dodson filling in for others, or whether it was a chance to get Dodson some more reps as Lynn was trailing later in the game.
Remember, you saw Dodson come in behind the plate when Savannah Ellis went to relieve Lindsay when she got pulled in the 4th of Game 1. Count 2-1. 1 down in the bottom of the second. Spartans lead 2-0 over Lynn, looking to secure the series win. Slow roller gets underneath Lindsay and Riddle. And Reynolds is aboard with the 1-out single, and it'll reset to the top of the order for Zekman.
Even if Riddle could have made that diving stop, it would have been really tough to get Kenzie Reynolds out at first. She's pretty good on the base paths, and that would have been a tough transition for Riddle to make the throw. But given that it went to straightaway center on a slow roller, there was no chance for Reynolds to think about two.
Back to Zekman. Reached on a walk to lead off the bottom of the first and scored on a Lindsay wild pitch. Runner does not go, and a nice stop over at short, but Riddle couldn't get that ball cleanly out the glove, and all Spartans are safe.
Yeah, that's a really good stop. Just like the previous play, I think that's what would have happened if Riddle did make the diving play on Reynolds. Would have been able to come up with the ball, but both runners come home safe.
So first and second and 1 out for Jenna Newpaver. Newpaver with the sacrifice bunt. But for now, we'll show the swing. Takes ball 1, low and outside.
I have to see if they go for the 1-out bunt here. It's not something you always see out of the Spartans, but could try to catch the defense off guard.
Corner infield is playing back. Throw over to second base and snapping back underneath the tag quickly was Reynolds.
Yeah, a little bit scary, though, for Reynolds. She was kind of a little bit too far forwards on that dropped ball.
And we'll have time called as they want to make sure Reynolds is situated at second and get a new softball for Lindsay. Riley's playing back almost even with third. Ella's also even with the back, so they could drop a bunt if the pitch is right. Instead, she'll just shoot down one over Riddle. They will bring the runner around. She will score. An RBI single for a new paper extends the Tampa lead to 3-0. Perfectly placed, Taylor. He had the shortstop Riddle, and that ball hit just far enough where Riddle could make a play. And the Spartans tack another one on the board off of Lindsay.
And you know what? You were saying that all day in Game 1, Victor. If you can find that gap, because there's usually been some space down from the right and center fielder, this time from the left and center fielder, you could do some damage, and that's what Tampa does. Another wild pitch.
And that will allow both runners to move up in scoring position. So Zekman at third, new paper now at second. And it's a 1-0 count to Kenna Kreidler. Kreidler also walked and scored in the first. And she's ahead 2 balls, no strikes.
I would honestly consider an intentional walk here for Kenna Kreidler, given how dangerous she is at the plate. She's up 2-0 in the count. You could also open up the force out at home if you walk her.
Yeah, can't feast on deck. And it's almost as if they're trying to do a intentional walk to Kreidler. She's ahead 3 balls, no strikes. Still one down in the second. Spartans up by 3. And it'll be 3 Spartans aboard after the 4-pitch walk to Kreidler.
And I wonder if the decision to go back to Lindsay in the circle is to try to keep the rest of the pitching staff healthy for Lynn tomorrow. Notably, Tampa hasn't seen Kaylee Zazali or Kylie Hope yet in the circle. Notably, 3 of the members of the Lynn staff are two-way players that have actually had chances at the plate this weekend.
Here's Cam Feast. Takes ball 1. Feast had a loud foul ball to start her first at bat before she eventually grounded out to second. Zekman at third, new paper at second, Kreidler at first. Spartans up 3-0.
You can tell the rain is coming down a bit now. You're seeing more of those practice throws from the pitcher to the catcher to kind of test some things.
Feast takes the strike, wins it to 1-1.
These are also the type of conditions where you'd rather be at the plate than on defense.
And we saw that ground ball by overhit to Riddle when New Paper was aboard. She got the ball, she fielded it well, but couldn't get that ball out of the glove to shovel it to second for the force. 2-1. Down inside, and Feast is ahead 3 balls and 1 strike, and no place to put her. 3-1 to count the Feast, 3-0 to lead for Tampa in the second. Feast goes after that 3-1 pitch, and it's a full count. Leslie Cantor hoping her junior can tack on to this lead. Another 3-2 pitch for Lindsay. And this time she gets the strikeout. So Lindsay, who's not known for her strikeouts, picks up 2 huge ones in this inning. And it'll be up to Carly Salisbury.
That's the most important one of the game so far for Lindsay.
Salisbury fouls that one away 0-1.
And Feast just a little too aggressive there. You know, she's had a really good day at the plate, wanted to tack onto it, but just got fooled with the rise ball.
And that's a situation where you had to force Lindsay to prove she can throw a strike in a critical situation. Ball and a strike.
These Lynn catchers have been doing great work behind the plate. They haven't been able to stop everything, but, you know, they've had to be like hockey goalies getting down on the ground and trying to keep the balls in front of them when they get a little wild.
1-1 pitch. Up in the zone, 2 balls and a strike. Zekman at third. New Paper at second. Kreidler at first. And Lindsay will ask for a much drier softball from our home plate umpire, Scott Boswell. Spartans got 2 in the first, One so far in the second, but in danger of leaving them loaded if Salisbury can't come through with the 2-1 pitch. 3-1. And see if Salisbury kind of took some last-second adjustments from the feet step back where she was ahead 3-1 before she struck out. She does. Lays out the pitch up high, forces in a run. So the bases loaded, walk makes it 4-0 Tampa.
That's a very disciplined at-bat out of the freshman Salisbury. It's exactly what you want to see if you're Coach Cantor. In a bases-loaded spot, you want to try to deliver a big moment, but Salisbury just takes a step back and gets on board.
Bumalo O'Meal goes out to the first pitch. Will be staying just in the infield for Hope, who holds it down, and that will end the inning. Spartans pick up 2, but they lead the bases loaded. 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors. As bases left full of Spartans, we're through 2. 4-0 Tampa here in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Top of the third we go. At Mayoli Family Stadium, Victor Anderson Taylor Storeworthy, glad as you're with us. 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors for Tampa. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for Lynn. Spartans with a 4-0 advantage. Looking to clinch the series against the Fighting Knights and try and go for the sweep tomorrow afternoon at a 1 o'clock first pitch. 9-1-2 due up for Lynn. Riddle, Lockhart, and Floriano. They'll take on the freshman Holly Steffes.
It'll be Steffes' turn to kind of deal with the weather today as well. Previous innings saw a bit of rain pick up. It's not absolutely pouring out there, but it is going to play a little bit of a factor in terms of fielding and defense.
Ball 1 for Riddle. This is down low, 2 balls and no strikes. A light misting, and hopeful that is all it will be for the remainder of game 2. Upstairs, 3 balls and no strikes, and you can immediately start to see the impacts it's had on Steffes and her grip. Three delivery. At the knees for a strike. It looks like Riddle was getting ready to bolt the first, but Mr. Boswell did not take too kindly to that. Rewind. Couldn't lay off a pitch that moved up late. And Steffes has worked the count full against the 9-hole hitter Riddle.
Yeah, great job rallying after falling back 3-0.
Steffes with back-to-back strikeouts to start the game has been stuck on now has 3. Check that, now has 4. So how about Steffes spotted Riddle a 3-0 count and got 3 straight strikes to pick up her 4th strikeout of the game. We'll go back to the top of the order and Quinn Lockhart. Lockhart, the first of those 4 strikeouts from Steffes. That one goes outside for ball 1. Tampa defensively will go with John, Zekman, and Feast in the outfield from left to right. Infield playing shallow for the slapper Lockhart. Steffes is 1-0. Finds the zone. Brings up the right arm of Boswell. Brings the count to 1-1. Around the infield, New Paver at third. Reynolds at short. Yetter at second. Salisbury at first. Kryler behind the plate to catch. Lockhart goes out to the 1-1. Hicks it off the backstop. 1-2.
Steffes made her debut back on January 30th in a funny kind of similar spot where it was the penultimate day of the month, second to last day, and had 3 great innings out of the bullpen, including striking out the side in her first collegiate inning.
That was against den number 25 Oklahoma Christian, who was moved up significantly in the ranks, and they will say, yes, she did go around. Robert Kirk making the official word. So how about Steffes? 6 strikeouts, 3 in a row. Or 5 strikeouts, 3 in a row. And it'll be 2 down for the ninth in the third. Only Floriano will step in, take someone upstairs for ball 1.
Even though the count goes 1-0, I do think that 6th strikeout is right around the corner. She looks very locked in the circle despite the weather.
43 pitches for the freshman, 29 strikes. And balls behind, 2 balls, no strikes. The one bugaboo has been for Steffes, has yet to record a 1-2-3 inning. Gave up back-to-back gave up singles with 2 outs in the first and the second. Trying to avoid that same fate to Floriano, down 2-0. And we'll finally get that 1-2-3 frame on an easy 6-3 for Reynolds and Salisbury. Friday nights go down in order. 2.5 in the books. Still 4-0 in favor of Tampa on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back here in Tampa as the rain starts to increase a little bit. Bottom of the third, Spartans up 4-0. Bottom third of the order due up. Johns, Yetter, and Reynolds. Victor Anderson alongside Taylor Stowworthy. Glad that you're with us on this Friday afternoon. Mother Nature forcing our schedule to be altered. Doubleheader taking place today. Single game will be tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. First pitch. Hope you'll be with us. This is on the outside corner. Lindsay's behind, 2 balls and no strikes to Johns, who fouled out to first with no contact on the first baseman Ellis to end the Tampa first inning. Down and inside, 3 balls, no strikes.
I think a big thing as well you can notice is that as there is going to be a conference in the circle for Lindsay, I don't think they're making the change to the bullpen yet, but that could be on the cards. Coach Rubio is no longer down the first base line because of the conditions, and also you see Coach Canner closer to the Spartans dugout too. I noticed Coach Rubio was trying to avoid the weather by pulling, I think, her sweatshirt over her head. We even have fans trying to find ways to stay dry in the stands. Thankfully, we've got a closed-off booth, so we're feeling nice and secure here with the weather.
Yeah, the umpires have been trying to Coach Cantor tried to get the umpires some dry fit towels to keep the softballs drier, but they politely declined the offer from Coach Cantor.
As long as things don't get too torrential with the rain pour and there's no lightning, we'll keep playing through. And even though it's picking up, I don't think there are any thunderstorms in the area, so should be a green light, even if the conditions become slippery when wet.
Those daggers you feel in the booth is towards my partner because he continues to reference the weather on this Friday afternoon. That one goes outside, 3 balls and a strike.
Feel from Dwayne, our PA announcer, as well.
Well, he's the most vital part of the booth, whose name is not Tom Colby. So, of course, we had to make sure our PA guy is properly taken care of. Foul ball behind the plate, 3 balls and 2 strikes. 4-0 lead for Tampa, trying to clinch the series against Lynn and make it 22 straight against the rivals from Boca Raton. Lindsay's 3-2. High and outside, ball 4. Another walk issued by Lindsay. That is her 5th of the day.
Yeah, Tampa has really capitalized with the weakened control from Lindsay so far. And there is going to be a conference between the coaches.
Yeah, I think they may have realized that the conditions might be. Yeah, both you see both Cassidy picking on your right, Coach Leslie Cantor on your left, and our home plate umpire Scott Boswell having a conversation.
My question would be if they want to just go for a rain delay or just postpone the second half of this game until tomorrow and make it a semi-doubleheader here. You're almost at that halfway point, bottom of the third, and the weather is probably not going to get better anytime soon.
Yeah, we did see the condition. We did see the conditions, and we kind of took a look at the whether they're going to bring. Yeah, they're going to bring both. Yeah, they're going to bring both teams in. So it's, our broadcaster did bring up that we are going to be officially in a rain delay. So Yetter will be at the plate. John's on at first, but we will have a weather delay. You see all the Spartans head on over beyond right field to bring out the tarp. And with the way the conditions are, you have that interesting situation where do you suspend the game, resume things tomorrow, and then you play your regular Saturday game as scheduled, or do you try to hold off as long as you can? According to weather.com, we're supposed to have thunder showers coming up within the next few minutes and lasting until the 7 o'clock hour. So I wouldn't be surprised if both coaches make a decision coming up in regards to the rest of this game. Yeah, we are in the bottom of the third. Tampa up 4-0, but we are officially in a rain delay. So we'll keep you posted and follow Tampa Spartans on all social media platforms to keep you updated on what's going to be happening with the rest of this game and how that could impact tomorrow's schedule between Lynn and Tampa as they wrap up this 3-game series.
Yeah, and I do just want to confirm as well, for now it at least is a rain delay. They haven't officially called to postpone it, but depending on how things go, that might be the case in a little bit of time. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, so as of right now, we are in a rain delay. Bottom of the third, Spartans up 4-0. We'll keep you updated when we potentially could resume play here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. All right, we are back. It looks like we've gotten the official word that the game today will be suspended and will resume tomorrow. We're just waiting for the official time frame of when the game will resume tomorrow. So we will have the conclusion of game 2 of the series tomorrow, and then afterwards we will have our regularly scheduled series finale between Tampa and Lynn. We're just kind of waiting for the official word of when the game will resume, and then the third game of the series will be 30 minutes after the conclusion of game number 2. But Taylor, as we kind of anticipated when the weather started to get a little bit heavier and heavier, that they wouldn't take too long to make a decision, and they're making a call right here in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, they really tried to play through it as best as they could. And for a while, I don't think the weather was necessarily bad enough to stop it. But with the sixth walk of the game and things clearly not showing any signs of improvement, I understand a decision to pause the game right here. And I know for Steffes and for Lindsay, much needed, they'll have a full chance to reset overnight and get ready to go. And I think for Lindsay, where a lot of her extended command issues came from the rain, I'll be excited to see how she can improve upon tomorrow. She will have a runner inherited at first, unfortunately.
So we'll reset the situation when we come out to the ballpark tomorrow. So be sure to follow Tampa Spartans on all social platforms for when game 2 will resume. And, of course, after that game concludes, 30 minutes afterwards, we will have our regularly scheduled series finale between Tampa and Lynn. So for Taylor Storeworthy and our crew, I'm Victor Anderson. Say so long. Hope everyone stays dry. Tampa takes game 1, game 2 suspended, bottom of the 4th. Tampa up 4-0. We will reset the scene for you tomorrow here from a hopefully more sunny and drier Naomi Family Stadium. Until then, we say so long on the Sunshine State Conference.